All right, so today we have a new critical update about Cyberpunk 2077. As you guys remember, this graph really kind of confused and upset a lot of people yesterday. It showcased that support for Cyberpunk seemed to be dwindling over time and that their focus was moving on to other projects and The Witcher. Well, we have a brand new update about that graph. It has completely changed, and it looks like, yes, they are wholeheartedly focused on Cyberpunk for the foreseeable future. But we have to remember where a lot of this started, and that started with this article right here. It says CD Projekt RED says vast part of fixing Cyberpunk 2077 is done. Focus on other projects. You'll notice they didn't even mention an expansion is being worked on in that headline. They even went as far as being out on Twitter, not mentioning any form of expansion or anything like that. This is a very misleading headline. And then we have Philip Weber of CD Projekt RED who chimed in and says, I guess the fact that one of the other projects is an expansion for Cyberpunk didn't fit into the headline. And he has a very, very good point. Of course, they're going to be upset with this. But if we look at the old chart here, you can see how it appeared that, yeah, support for Cyberpunk was dwindling. You guys may remember I said that it looked like there was misconceptions about this chart. It didn't appear to be right to me at all. I still thought their focus was Cyberpunk, even given that they were working on other projects. But check this out. Here is the updated chart. You can see there is a massive growth there for the support for Cyberpunk expansion specifically. Of course, not much has changed for the support for Cyberpunk plus next gen version. It wouldn't make sense that that bar would be growing because you have to remember they're done with the next gen version of Cyberpunk 2077. They already released that. So yeah, it doesn't make sense that the whole team would be working on that, of course. Instead, it's all hands on deck for the Cyberpunk expansion. Now we have an official statement here from CD Projekt. Check this out right here. It says, unfortunately, there was an error, in the legend to the chart, which presented our team allocation in FY 2021 presentation. Obviously, as was said during the call, the biggest part of our team is currently working on the Cyberpunk 2077 expansion. So it seemed to me that, certain news outlets, and I had a feeling this was happening yesterday, were running the story with very negative headlines, not focusing on the proper things that were said. And I had a feeling also that, yes, that previous chart here was completely outdated. Here's the new one right there once again. All right, so we have Paolo Sasco of CD Projekt RED, who also says this: expansion is developed by a lion's share of our crew, me included. Very honored to be working on more content for you. So, yeah, I remember he even said this same thing on stream, so I was kind of scratching my head over the chart. I was like, doesn't seem right whatsoever. So this is really good news, actually. Then we have more good news here. Check out this slide right here. It says, RED 2 in progress, building agile teams and internal competencies, and building 2 independent teams to work on 2 AAA projects. So that is definitely something they are still focused on. This is an update. Strengthening the role of CTO, followed by changes to the management board. And this one is really important. It says refocus on staff well-being and priority given to HR activities. And we could see some of this actually by some of the stories being told by the developers at CD Projekt RED. Check this out from Patrick K. Mills. He goes on to say this: experiencing a specific feeling emotion, don't have a word for it. I used to work with someone senior to me who was extremely bad at their job, impossible to work with, and creatively empty. I haven't worked with them in ages, but they are still around. Continue. Let's keep going. It says, the longer I hadn't worked with them, the more generous I became in my recollection. Maybe they weren't actually that bad. Maybe it was just a bad time for them. Maybe it was me. I've grown a lot since then. Maybe they did too. Then I hear from people who work with them now, and they describe the process of working with this person, and it's exactly the same thing I experienced. It sounds like the same stories I have from my time. I have no doubt that this person has changed in some ways, and I wish them no harm, but this is a very specific form of vindication. I'm not crazy. This person sucks. And you're probably wondering, well, what does this have to deal with anything? To me, it seems like they're improving the health, the workspace over there at CD Projekt RED, that they're not willing to have people around that are going to disrupt the workflow. And I don't know exactly who they are talking about here, who Patrick K. Mills is referring to. But what we do know is CD Projekt RED is not willing to work with people that are going to be bullies. They have removed one of their big directors, senior leadership, I guess you would say, for The Witcher 3. He was also working on Cyberpunk. And, if you have someone in the workspace that is very, very negative and is essentially bullying everyone, you're going to see an impact on everyone's work. It's going to be degraded, in other words. All right, so let's get some opinions from you all, the community, about this new update, about Cyberpunk 2077 and this chart that has been since updated. Let's see what some of you guys had to say about this. We have Inglorious Comfort, who says, it makes sense as well, since you don't go all in at the beginning of a project, you got to plan it out first, then start adding the workforce needed to work out what's being planned. So basically the programmers, designers, etc. will start moving into the new Witcher game once they have fleshed out their direction and actually start creating the game. They are still early in planning, story creation, gameplay, lore, etc. as far as I'm aware, which is why they won't show anything, because they don't have much other than an idea. Yeah, so another reason to me why this chart here didn't make much sense. To me, they're more in the conceptual phases of The Witcher 4. I guess we're going to call it The Witcher 4. It's the next Witcher game. And then they adjusted this, and this kind of reflects that, of course, right here. A lot of people were also asking, what's the molasses flood? I'm glad people are asking that question. They're working on something either Cyberpunk related or Witcher related, and they make up a small portion of the graph, but I'm so curious to see what they bring to the table for sure. All right, now it's time to go over your most recent top comments. So please leave a comment down below. It could end up in a future video, so let's do this, shall we? So my most recent video is this one. Cyberpunk fans are divided more than ever after recent news update. What is going on? I felt like there was so much confusion yesterday between misleading headlines gravitating towards negativity, and I hope I kind of cleared that up in yesterday's video somewhat for you all. Here we are. I had a feeling something like this was happening. Then we have Lewis Bush, who says, if there's no content to hold us over for a year, sure, otherwise that's a damn long time for how the game launched. Despite all that, I have faith. We need some DLCs releasing during 2022 for sure. So they did say, and this is official, that they're working on an expansion and on top of that, DLCs. So I'm hoping we get more details about what these DLCs are. I assume that those are going to be the free content stuff. Then we have Braun Perlman, who says this, the comments are incredible. The game industry has truly succeeded in normalizing games as a service, even for offline single-player campaigns, to a point where people are begging for a roadmap. God help us. I think, the frustration is kind of about how The Witcher 3 got support pretty much immediately. They had expansions out within a year of being released, tons and tons of DLC. So I think that's what people were hoping for, and we did not get that whatsoever here with Cyberpunk. Then we have this one from Eric, who says, I love playing Cyberpunk and I feel they've taken it to an acceptable point. However, I still hope to get fleshed out police and gang mechanics, maybe even procedurally generated races V's story was so terminal that I just wonder what they're going to do. It seems like they're going to create an entirely new story that was actually confirmed. Totally new story for expansion 1. Maybe that means a brand new character. I would assume so, and I think that would be the wise choice. Then we have this comment right here from Andy Howell, who says, I'm certainly divided, like more than ever. I do want a comeback story, and I do want to tell them to take all the time in the world to make sure it's something they can be proud of, but I just hope they continue to make and release substantial game-changing patches like 1.5 throughout the year, and actually deliver on more than a couple of free DLCs as well. Otherwise, if there's no substantial upgrades being done to make me actually want to care to play it this year, then I will most definitely just not care about Cyberpunk or CD Projekt RED for that matter when the DLC finally comes out, if it ever does. P.S. Great channel. Love the content. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I think they're building up something for expansion 1, and a lot of any improvements would be seen there. I think they would release a patch alongside that. That's just my opinion. Maybe, just maybe, we get something for Christmas. I think it would be very wise to have free DLC out during Christmas, some sort of big pack of DLCs or something alongside an update that is kind of like update 1.5. But for now, they feel like Cyberpunk is in a position where it's running very well. Minimal problems with bugs, glitches like that. And I'm having minimal issues, It's a beautiful game. I love it. I can't wait for this expansion. And yeah, again, I'll be busy in Starfield this fall. I say take their time, nail down expansion pack 1, because if it's anything like The Witcher, it's going to be like an entirely new game. That's what I'm hoping for. But anyway, Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Cyberpunk and updates about open world gaming goodness, including Starfield. Look out for the Starfield videos. I got you guys covered. But thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.